nothing changed or they got worse? 1, 2, kind of, 3, kind of. Okay. How many of you did a little bit of work for the PMRF? They improved briefly, but they went right back to the way that they were. All right. So let's talk about neurology and what we're going to do about this. Okay. So I went ahead and drew up here this little diagram. You guys have your colored pens. You can draw your own diagram. So I've labeled right and left cortices, so right and left cortex, right and left PMRF, and right and left cerebellum. All right, so I'm standing here facing you. You see my right cortex, my right PMRF, my right cerebellum over here, left cortex, left PMRF, left cerebellum on this side. Is everyone okay with that? Okay. So let's discuss what we just tried. I am your client. I take a walk for you. You see pronation in my right side upper extremity. You see external rotation in my right side lower extremity. You ask me about my history. I have right shoulder pain, right elbow pain. I've torn my right hamstring 4 times, and I've had 8 ankle sprains on the right. Does that sound like a right PMRF? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Cool. In this iteration of the drill, we said, all right, we're going to try to fix your brainstem problem by doing ipsilateral work. Does everyone understand that? So if I'm standing here and you have me do extensor carpi ulnaris, the radial groove, extensor digiti on the right side, what I want you to recognize is that you are primarily focusing where? My cerebellum or my cortex? I am actually using the ACM drill ipsilaterally to try to influence my right cerebellum. Why? Right, because we actually have this going on. Okay? We have right cerebellum, right PMRF are talking to one another. Is everyone okay with that? All right. So now let's talk about what you saw. So I'm here. You go, all right, because I don't want to overthink, I'm just going to do right side cerebellum. Or sorry, I'm going to do right side ACM to try to influence the right cerebellum to improve your right side problem. You have me do the drills. And I start walking. And for my first 10 steps, I look like a new man. Right? My hair changes color, it grows back, right? Whatever. But 12 steps in, I look just like I did before. What did you just learn? You just learned that you went after the wrong stimulus. Because in order to create my right side movement, where is the motor command coming from? Left cortex. So the motor command from my left cortex made my right hand work. The contraction caused the cerebellum to become more active, and that briefly upregulated the PMRF, but nothing really changed. So what does that tell you about doing the PMRF work on that side? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Not a great idea. Does everyone understand that? Am I going too quickly? All right. Yes? The fact that it changed, but it didn't last more than a few steps, usually tells you that that is not the right place to start. Yeah?
We tested, Debbie had a right PMRF, and then we tested the extensor, and they were weaker on the left, so we did the drills on the left, and it got
So it's a right PMRF,
yeah.
but you did left side work. Okay. Is that a possible fix for a right PMRF? Yeah. Absolutely, right? So that's why we're going through this. So again, the example here that I'm going through is I do the ACM work on the PMRF side. I don't see much of an improvement. Is it possible that I could now maybe get a much bigger benefit for this right PMRF by working on the opposite side of the body? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, is everyone okay with that? Yes. Now, here's the difference. If I think that I need to do contralateral contractile work, I'm not going to use the extensors. What am I going to use?
Flexors.
I'm going to use the flexors. Does everyone understand that? If not, let's take a look up here at the slide, okay? So, actually, let me go to this. This is one of the things that I've, again, been using in practice for 25 years. not because I knew the neurology, it was literally experiential, all right? But what we're starting to learn through kind of spinal cord-based reflexes, if you guys aren't familiar, you can go back and read about cross-cord reflex patterns. This is in the cord itself. But really what we're starting to see in neurology is this interesting blend between cortical, brainstem, and spinal cord regulation of movement. How many of you have heard me talk about central pattern generators before? Okay. Central pattern generators, they are changing the term to stepping pattern generators. Okay. Now, I don't know that that's a great shift, but that's what we're seeing. I actually have a new neuroscience text that I'm going to be recommending for everyone going through the curriculum. It just was published 2 months ago. It's really, really good. In the central pattern generator section, they are now calling them stepping pattern generators. Those of you that follow Instagram, I'm still doing it. Last weekend, I actually put up a paper just from a few months ago that's really cool. It's looking at, again, what I've talked about for years called intralimb neural coupling. And in this particular study, they actually talk about rhythmic wrist movements improving and influencing contralateral ankle movements in gait. All right, and this is actually real hard neuroscience research that's occurring now, finally, looking at these patterns. So to keep this really simple, here's what I want you to think about. We have, obviously, in kind of a standard gait process, we have ongoing facilitation inhibition patterns that are required, right? So if I'm walking, all right, this particular slide is looking at the swing phase of gait with my left leg, right? As a contralateral biped, as I'm coming through, so my left leg's behind me, I step forward. We know that that swing phase is going to be accompanied by left lower extremity flexor facilitation. Does that make sense to everybody? Because what is my left lower extremity doing? It's flexing. What is my contralateral, my right upper extremity doing? Flexing. Does that make sense to everyone? So left lower extremity flexors, contralateral upper extremity flexors. That's the basic wiring pattern of gait. Is everyone okay with that? So if I were to take someone and put them into a left lunge as they're transferring their weight, and then were to test their opposite upper extremity, what should I find? I should find that the flexor groups are what? Facilitated. The extensor groups are what? Inhibited. Everyone okay with that?
Yes.
All right. So we actually have, like I said, stereotypical activation inhibition patterns. So when we think about the PMRF in the gait cycle, or let me say it this way. Does the PMRF help participate in posture and gait?
Yes.
So if I wanted to change a right side PMRF by working on the contralateral side, what might I want to do? Work on the flexors. Where? Distally. What limb? Lower. Lower. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. So should I say that one more time?
Yes.
So I know people start looking at me like, whoa, wait. Let's do this one. All right. So this is, again, little gait patterning. So again, if we think about the gait system, well, actually, let's just go through these individually. All right. So activation of flexors above T6. So everyone take your right arm. Contract your right bicep. What have you just done? You have activated flexors above T6 on the what? Right side. Okay? Does everyone understand that I will, as a result of this, have what? Inhibition of the ipsilateral extensors above T6. Everyone's okay with that one? That one makes sense. Keep that contraction going on, right bicep. I am now going to also see inhibition of the contralateral flexors above T6. So basically, when I contract my right bicep, neurologically, I actually get stronger in my left tricep. Why? Because that's how gait works. Gait antagonist. right? Everyone okay with that? So again, it's really, really important that you understand these patterns. In the training world, have we always known about this problem? What's it called? It's called the bilateral strength deficit. Basically, it takes time to get to the point that you can actually use a barbell versus a dumbbell and be as strong. The actual deficit, whenever I try to utilize both my flexors at the same time, in an untrained person is usually 20 to 30%. So again, if I really want to contract my right bicep hard, increasing left tricep activation will improve it. So try it, okay? Contract your right bicep really hard. Okay, let's actually do it wrong first. Contract your left bicep really hard at the same time. Get an idea of how much you can contract that right. Keep contracting that right now. Contract that left tricep. And a lot of you will probably be able to cramp that right bicep right away. Right? Some of you are like, in the gym now, yeah. Yeah. I can actually see it rolling through some of your head. I got this now. Okay. So, whenever we start to look at this, again, lightly contract that right bicep. If we go to stage 3, inhibition of ipsilateral flexors below T6. So if I contract my right bicep, I actually am doing what to my right hip flexors? I'm inhibiting them. Does that make sense? Then contralaterally, I will have inhibition of the contralateral extensors. Okay? So again, if we start to put all this together, thinking about how things work neurologically, we're all the way back over here. I have a bad right PMRM. You say, all right, we're going to do ACMs on the right side. That's going to cause my left cortex to activate. I'm going to do the drill. That will influence my right cerebellum, hopefully improving my right PMRF. That's what we did in our first iteration. And for some of you, did that work great? Cool. If it worked great, you're done. You just follow the basic pattern. It's very easy. However, if I did that and saw either no change or a very brief change, I may need to look at this neurologically very differently. I may now need to go, all right, I'm going to have to activate my right cortex in order to improve my right PMRF. Everyone okay with that? How would I do that? I know that I'm going to have to move the left side of the body somehow. Yes? So being very targeted in our thinking and using neurology, if I want to work the contra PMRF muscles, I'm not going to go to the opposite side, opposite arm, and do extensors. That doesn't make any sense, right? I have to think about how does this work in the gait cycle. So in this particular case, what would I be thinking about doing? The contralateral, below T6, distal flexors.
Distal flexors.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Now, if that's really confusing, because I know that that's a lot of words, in your manual, I literally made charts of all of these for you. Okay? So you can actually look it up, and it will tell you muscle by muscle what side of the body, what to do based off the pattern that you're seeing. Because there's actually a lot to just think through.
With this patterning, is it all inhibition and you're just getting a little bit more flexion because it's inhibited, or is there facilitation as well?
There's also a facilitation effect, yeah.
And we're just going because of the PMRF.
Correct. We're distal because of PMRF. If it's cerebellum, we're going to do the opposite.
Right.
Are we saying it's not working for the purpose of what we are doing right now and disregard all the other things that are possible?
Yeah, for now. Yeah, we're disregarding everything else currently. I'm just trying to say we have two different patterns and trying to use this as a teaching tool. Yeah?
Is there a certain storage time frame for how long this effect will affect other things?
Yes, and ask me a slightly more detailed question so I can give you a better answer.
If I do just curls,
Yeah.
how long will it last so that I can then have a good tricep contraction?
You can think of it probably in the 20 to 30 second window. It's about what you're going to see. Some people it'll extend longer, some will be shorter, but on average it's going to be kind of in that almost like we talk about with vestibular system having a storage velocity of 20 to 23 seconds in the cerebellum. It's going to be something similar in terms of motor activation. Depends on general health, but that would be it.
We just backtrack to when it worked.
on the
Yeah.
right side.
One that worked on the right side.
So it worked on the right side. Are we crediting the reason why it's working on the right side to the isometric nature of the ACM as opposed to doing a figure eight complex nonlinear, which is more cerebellar? Is it the contraction and the tone generation of the ACM why it would work more?
Yeah. So think of it this way. This is a great question, and it's really cool to understand it neurologically. His question is, what's the difference between doing a complex nonlinear figure eight with my wrist on the right versus the contraction on the right? Will both of them stimulate the right side cerebellum?
Yes.
Okay. Why might the contraction work better?
Greater load.
Maintenance
Okay.
of tone.
What's that?
Maintenance of tone, I'm assuming.
Yeah, increased maintenance of tone. Remember that the contraction, this is a class on interoception. What did we say we're going to really stimulate with hard contractions? C fibers. So if I'm doing a lot of figure eights and whatever, remember that is going to give me greater what? A beta, a delta load. So in other words, it's a different mechanoreceptive load than the contraction. That's the difference. So again, without knowing the person, I cannot really anticipate ahead of time what's going to work better for them. But what I can tell you, in most cases, if we're trying to do cerebellar drills to fix an ipsilateral PMRF, contraction usually works better than ipsilateral mobility drills. And I think it's probably because of the high load of C fiber activation we get.
That's C fiber being to the insula.
It's also going to the somatosensory cortex. It's not only one or the other.
Like that,
Okay, I can go even deeper into all this stuff as we go forward. I'm trying to, you guys come in with so many different backgrounds, I don't really know where you're at in terms of your neurology. But to put this really simply, every time we do insular work, so if I give you a ton of C fiber activation and I activate the insula, another part of the brain that typically is affected by that is the supplementary motor area, which stabilizes the midline of the body. And normally when we see increased midline stability, we see improvements across the board in PMRF and other cerebellar presentations. So that's probably the other reason that this works well. Yeah?
Is there a way to parse out metabolic? If you saw improvement and then it died,
Mhm.
is there a way to kind of say, well, that's probably metabolic, that's probably, let me try the other side?
Yeah, really good question. The question is, all right, I do 3 or 4 ACMs, the change only lasts for 10 steps. His question is that really that I'm on the wrong side of the body, or they have a metabolic problem? And his question is, how do I figure that out? What's the easiest way to figure it out?
Just exercise, see if it gets better.
Breathing drill?
Repeat the ACMs as an air hunger drill. Okay? Does everyone understand what I just said?
Yeah.
Okay? How many of you know what an air hunger drill is?
Yeah.
Okay? All right, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch T-Phase from Stamina. But an air hunger drill basically is this. I basically want to give you a very fast bolus increase of CO2 levels in the body. Easiest way to do it, take a big breath in, blow all of your air out, and then exercise. So basically squats or some kind of other body weight exercise to the point that you feel a desperate need to breathe. You can do that once or twice, and then you repeat the actual exercise, and then retest your gait. If the air hunger drill solves it, then what do we know? Metabolic problem. If it doesn't have any impact on it, then what? Probably different cortical drive. This is great, man. This is day 1. Am I going too fast? Okay.
Just to go back for a minute to the difference between doing it as an isometric, that was whether it's C or contra, right? Sorry. Figure 8 versus isometric and the different effects of
Mhm.
that. You were talking about that, whether it's C or contra.
I was, correct. Yeah. Okay, how you guys feeling? You okay? A lot of stuff to think through. Again, if you're getting a little weirded out, like I'm getting lost, this is probably the most thorough manual I've ever done in terms of protocols. I try actually not to write protocols on purpose because I like to make people think, but I know that there's so much crossing, etc. in this one. You literally have tables and charts. So all that I really need you to know right now is that if you see a right side PMRF and you choose to do ACM work on it, you will choose either up the ipsilateral side or the contralateral side, the muscles are laid out for you in the charts. So all you have to do is keep the charts around and then know how to do the exercises. Is that cool? All right, it's 3:35. Once you guys take your break, relax, breathe, and put out some fires, break fires. We'll start again in 15 minutes. This is our only break this afternoon, just so take advantage of it.
Get all in there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.